Rwanda has not been a country that has been using textbooks in the past, so it means we don't have authors. Number two, we are coming from a francophone era where we are entering into English.
I think it's important to put the issue of language-supportive textbooks and pedagogy into a wider context and a bigger picture. I think the Rwandan government and the international development community are increasingly concerned and focusing on the issue of quality. Once the children are in school, the issue is to get them to learn. And a key aspect of that is providing textbooks and materials that can help the children to learn effectively. Textbooks are really important because they provide a source for the learners, but also for the teachers, of important subject knowledge.
There's a huge gap between the language ability in English that they bring to learning subjects starting in grade 4 and the actual language demand which those subjects make on them.
We found teachers who, despite really struggling with their language, they were very innovative in the ways in which they were trying to get the curriculum across to learners. But we found that there was a very mixed way in which textbooks were being used. Some classrooms, we found that they were being used, a small number of classrooms, whereas others, the norm seemed to be that textbooks were used by teachers to be able to write on the blackboard rather than them being a learning material for learners. Across the board, learners are really struggling with their language.
The challenges that we are facing right now is the challenge of authors, but also the publishing industry that is still very young. And we are facing challenges where the materials are not exactly adapted to the local realities.
The training is incredibly hands-on. It's very much about getting the writers to feel confident in the different aspects of what we're calling a language-supportive textbook. So we introduce a basic idea such as reading and the sorts of reading activities that they would need. And then in groups, those writers are getting together and they're the ones that are developing what those textbooks might look like.
I learned to simplify the language to the level of the learners. And I also learned to give enough activities for learners.
We are happy to have participated in LaST as publishers. Our authors have been trained, our editors have been trained, our illustrators have been trained.
When you're developing a textbook, you need to be as simple and as brief, as illustrative as you can, so that you can help the teachers and the students to understand the language that you're using in the textbook.
The idea of being language supportive in textbooks has two key elements to it. One is about language accessibility, so it's about using the simplest language possible for learners to be able to learn and understand that language. And also that is then using glossaries where you draw on their Kinya Rwanda to be able to help them develop their vocabulary. And the other part of it is developing their language ability more widely. So it's giving them opportunities to read, to write, to speak in English.
Example of grasses are sorghum, sorghum.
Ibi bitabo biratworoheye cyane. Turasoma tukumva, tukigisha abana ibyo twumvishije. Hafi ya buri mwana ama exercise ari muri iki gitabo arayakora. Ku bana nabo iyo basoma kino gitabo baba bakishimiye bakaba barize bakanafata no mu mutwe.
What LaST is doing is something quite unique and very innovative. It's the only project that I can think of here in Sub-Saharan Africa in recent years which is addressing head-on the issue of the language of textbooks and the degree to which it's acting as an enabler of learning.
The children at our schools have achieved 16% better than those at control schools.
Nagikunze kuko kirimo amashusho meza, harimo n'icyongereza ubasha kukisobanurira mu Kinyarwanda.
We have to recognise that we're working with publishers who, when it comes down to it, they want to know whether they're going to make money out of it. They're not going to do something out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing something to make a profit. And we can encourage them to use these different techniques to write language-supported textbooks, but they need a guarantee that they're then going to be able to get on the procurement list and get those textbooks out into schools.
I think the Rwandan government has been very brave in taking a lead on this. The government has played a leading role, not just in Rwanda, but in the international community, in pioneering the use of these kinds of materials that will help learners to learn more effectively.